Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. The first transgender mosque in Bangladesh, open, and a lot of people are happy about it, and they are very, very, basically proud of what's been happening as a huge leap in the Muslim world, specifically when it comes to the rights of LGBTQ plus plus. Now, again, this is not a hate speech. I have to give these disclaimers because obviously you get taken down and whatnot. So we have to be strategic and smart, inshallah. But from an Islamic perspective, how do we understand this? What is with this big news and why is it such a big news? And especially in the Muslim countries, oh my God, this is the first transgender mosque in a place where, of course, LGBTQ rights, transgender rights, pansexual, you name it, plus, gender fluid, whatever, different labels that they can come with and invent and add extra, the Islam looks down upon and so on, to make Islam look like the boogeyman and these people as, poor, marginalized, and, oppressed people. How do we understand this? Well, bottom line is that, of course, we do not agree with this. And we have our rights as citizens of the world to express our freedom of speech and opinion. No, we're not saying let's destroy them, let's kill them, let's hurt them. None of that. No. Okay, we're not advocating for this hate speech or hate action. It's just expressing opinion. So, first and foremost, it's deceptive because a lot of Muslims get confused by some of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where indeed certain individuals, which were not really a man or a woman, basically the correct term is hermaphrodite, were assigned a location in the masjid, such as the last row, or between the women and the men. So people get confused. They're like, oh, wait a second, what is that? Look, see, there's an evidence. No, that's not an evidence for what these people are trying to do. What the Westerners are trying to do, and this corrupt media is trying to do in making sure that there's no standards, that there's no gender, that there's no binary gender, which it is. I mean, Allah has created people like that. Men, women. What happens when there is a problem, an anomaly, or something has happened due to gestation, due to whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Allah's creation is perfect. But certain things, due to environmental factors, due to disease, due to many things, can cause an anomaly. What happens there? Well, Islam always has a solution and answer. And the Prophet ﷺ, as I said, assigned them a position in society. And there is fiqh around it that the ulama and the scholars have done and have talked about where these people stand in prayer, how they should be, treated, and so on and so forth. And we have the very famous hadith of that person who described the woman, and the Prophet ﷺ heard him, and he did not allow him anymore to enter and be with the women, even though he was more inclined. Many fatwas have happened when a hermaphrodite shows a certain gender and it's more predominant, and how that is treated. That's nothing new for the Muslim community. However, what these people are trying to do is deceptive. But let's take a look at the video first and foremost.
Members of Bangladesh's transgender Hijra community, who were disallowed from attending other prayer services, have been welcomed at a new mosque in the Muslim-majority nation with the promise of worship without discrimination. The humble structure, a single-room shed with walls and a tin roof, is a new community hub for the minority, who have enjoyed greater legal and political recognition in recent years, but still suffer from entrenched prejudice.
All right, so I guess first and foremost what we need to understand here, my brothers and sisters, is that there's a difference between transgender, what these people are doing, where a person is born with a certain gender, of course, male or female, penis or vagina, right? The DNA is clear who this person is, and how they get confused, that they start feeling, oh, I'm a man, I have a penis, but I feel like a woman. The first question is why? Well, let's take the definition so we clarify it from their website, and where people are trying to explain this. This is from their own website. So it says that Clarifying terminology. And this is, by the way, from Interact, Advocates for Youth, for Intersex Youth. And this is out of Boston. And basically, just we're going to care only about the terminology. Of course, they say that, oh, both intersex, transgender can be identified as man or woman. We don't care about that right now, what they think in their philosophy. What we care is their definition. They say the two terms are often confused. While a person who's transgender has a gender that is different from the one traditionally associated with the sex they were assigned at birth. Assigned at birth? No, it was clear because they had a penis or a vagina, right? A person who is intersex was born with a variation in their sexual reproductive anatomy, such as their body does not fit typical definitions of male or female, meaning they could have a penis or a penis and a vagina. They can have a large clitoris that looks like a penis, and so many other variations of that. Okay, so here, as you can see, this is the definition very clearly. I hope you saw it. So again, the two terms are confused. Transgender has a gender different from the one traditionally that they were born with. By the way, it's not just what's assigned, but it's what's in their DNA as well. The DNA clearly states who they are. Okay, so but bottom line is, in Islam, it's a very, very different thing. Okay, hermaphrodite, transgender. We're hermaphrodites. We have the fiqh. The scholars of Islam have talked about it. It's very clear what they have their rights, they have their responsibilities. That's how they were born. They cannot help it. That's just the way it is. There's laws and regulations like it is for males and females. But for these people, transgender, it's made to seem like Muslims are just so oppressive and so on. And wow, what a big thing. Well, these people are confused people. Yes, they have to be, understood and understood why they're confused. That's the main thing, actually. Not that they're encouraged to continue in their behavior, acting like something who they are not. Because they're not that. They're not a woman. They just think that they feel like one. Why? Well, there's a lot of things we can go into from a psychological counseling perspective. The trauma that they've suffered, that should be actually targeted. The abuse that they've suffered as children, that should be targeted. The low social substandards, that should be targeted, understood. The trauma that they've gone through, that should be targeted. Not that they champion this mosque now and this community, because that's going to cause more confusion. People are going to start thinking, oh, maybe I do feel a bit feminine. Maybe I should join. Maybe this, maybe that. This in Islam is not allowed. The confusion that these philosophies are trying to portray and push with liberalism is unacceptable in Islam. Okay, so let's separate the two different things. Okay, Islam does not accept for a person who's born as a woman or as a man to try to change themselves, to go under surgery, to go under hormone blockers, to change who they really are. What Islam tells you is you got to change your mind and your corruption and your confusion that you've maybe not even responsible for. It's the society that has caused that to you. It is the trauma they've gone through. So for the world, instead of hitting the target, they shoot their arrows in all kinds of sides, but then they blame Islam for being strict and consistent and caring about words, definitions, caring about the apparent evidence of what a woman is and what a man is, being very, very clear about it. And they want you to adopt their confusion. Everyone can be whatever they are. And by the way, you know that they do not stop at men and women. This whole gender fluidity and identity fluidity does not stop at men and women, my brothers and my sisters. It goes to dogs and cats and animals identifying as a car, identifying as inanimate objects, identifying younger in age than what you really are, and all kinds of different confusion. So what's next? Are we going to have a mosque for people who identify as dogs and cats? Or maybe as horses? Or maybe as little children? Or maybe as cars? Don't think it's a joke, because if you look at this community, these communities and their philosophy, it does now come under that umbrella. It's not only about man or woman, or a man feeling like a man, like a woman, and a woman like a man. It's about a man feeling like a little child, a man feeling like a dog or a cat or a unicorn or many other things. And you can look and search on the news and how many schools have had to deal with this kind of confusions and how it hurt the society. Let me know what you think in the comments. But Islam is very clear that this is not permissible. This is haram. The Prophet ﷺ cursed people who try to imitate each other's gender. But there was hermaphrodites and people were in a certain category that Islam talks about their rights, their duties, their limitations, their halal and haram. This has been around for hundreds of years in Islam. And this is not a woman trying to be a man or a man or woman. This is someone who was born in a certain way. And this is what it is. And Islam makes distinctions between that. Barakallahu fikum. Make sure you subscribe and like and share this so many people can benefit. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.